And now, you're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
Welcome in to RBLR Bucs here at RBLR Sports. We are flying the pirate flag on the seas of the offseason, but this is the last show that we have before actual, real football is played, with the game this weekend, fellas. Of course, weather permitting. But we are excited. We have Musaab, man. We have made it through the off season. My guy, Stephan, you're still here, 3 weeks in now, and I cannot wait until we get to talk actual X's and O's, actual performances, actual scores, wins, losses, maybe ties, who knows. But man, my name is Eureka, and of course I am not alone. My two guys to the left and to the right of me. First, man, Musaab, what is up, my man?
Oh, it's up all right, because as you said yourself, this is it. We've been waiting for this moment, my friends, and it has finally come. It is time for some football. So I'm fired up. I really am.
Stephan, man, how does it feel? Your first game covering the Bucs here. What are you? Your pins and needles? Do you have your notepad ready? Do you have like a routine that you're gonna get into? What's the plan, my man?
Oh man, I'm extremely excited. I can't wait for some real football and actually be able to see some fans in the stands as well. Weather permitting. I'm expecting to see for a preseason game a decent amount of fans in there when we hopefully get to storm in there on Saturday and have a few beers to get the tailgate going and
yes, sir.
enjoy the rest of the way.
Yes, sir, man. So Stephan, we'll get right into it. My first question to you guys. As we get in right before preseason game one, what are you hearing out of the coaching staff? What have guys have been seeing, through social media? What's the skinny on that we need to know about players and coaches before game one?
Well, I'll start with I was a little to hear that Bruce Arians mentioned earlier this week that he's gonna play everyone, and including Tom, which I was a little shocked there week one, and he said he'll play a few drives. Who knows? So I'm excited to see that. I mean, we haven't seen some real football again in a while, and to get to see our QB1 at least get a few snaps and see what kind of sets in place they run will be nice. But I'm also really focusing on three players that I'm going to have my eye on probably when I'm there on Saturday. First I want to see Kyle Trask is going to get. I'm excited to see him. He had a great career in Florida, so it'd be awesome to see what sort of timing he gets. If it probably is going to be later in the game, just because we saw today he's down there, but intrigued to see him. Joe Tryon. I mean, I guess when I went, he had a back practice because everything we've heard since. I mean, JP says he's the real deal. Bruce praised him a lot, saying that he's earned starter minute. That would be interesting to watch as well, especially against a Bengals O-line that a lot last year, so it would be interesting to see if he gets there. If he gets in early and can actually go against the first string of line there. And then the last guy that I'll pass it to Musaab here because I want to hear his feedback as well is Jalen Darden, right? I mean, we saw the depth chart again today. He's down there. He's in it, but he's down there in the last few roster spots for receivers. So it's going to be interesting not to only see him on offense, but I mean, if you're down there, typically you play special teams. So I'm interested to see he's going to be in the kickoffs and the punting, et cetera, et cetera. So those are my points there. But I'll pass it to Musaab and see what you guys, what do you have as preview this weekend?
Well, yeah, first thing, I mean, I think when the vibe I'm kind of getting when Arian said that everyone is going to play, I think the purpose of that is just to see, all right, well, listen, at one point, if these rookies are going to be good, they're going to be playing with Tom for sure. So, we got to see how these guys are, are they going to be people who quickly to playing with Tom Brady than their last quarterback, all right? Because their last quarterback was not Tom Brady. It was someone else, all right? So can you fit into the NFL kind of world / can you work with Tom Brady? Can you work with the rest of your teammates? So can you work with the starters, I think and the rest of the coaching staff, when they decided this was something that they want to see maybe what's going on, off the field during this, this preseason time. Now, digging into the rookies, yeah, I mean, for my three guys. Well, I'm gonna start. My first guy is definitely Kyle Trask. I want to, yeah, how much playing time he's getting, and yeah, specifically how he's doing. Because right now, what I'm hearing a lot of good things about him. Coach Arians actually himself said that regarding him, during training was that he was outstanding in every snap that he had today during practice. Kind of just about Kyle Trask, but the reason why I'm really interested in him more than probably others, just a teensy wincy little bit more, is probably just the Buccaneers released their first unofficial depth chart of the fall. You can go on .com and check it out, and they have Kyle Trask listed as fourth string behind Brady, Blaine Gabbert, and Ryan Griffin. So, I'm I'm assuming because it's unofficial, things will change. And then my next two guys are, yeah, well, Joe Tryon for sure, Mr. First Round pick. Obviously, I feel like all eyes should be on him. But I think that, I think there's some people that, people are also focusing on. I just mentioned Kyle Trask, even like Jalen Darden, as you said yourself, Stephan. But Joe Tryon, yeah, I want to see what he's doing. I want to see his athleticism. I think the thing that I'm not too immediately worried about in regards to him is he can learn, kind of more about how to be better on the field, how to read things better, et cetera, et cetera. Just from the veterans. But I want to see his athleticism. Does he have that athletic capability to hang in with the rest of the guys on the? Is he strong? Is he tough? Is he injury prone? What's the 411 on this guy? Because again, we haven't seen this guy play an actual real game in a long time. All right, because obviously with COVID and everything. So that being said, on to my last person, which is not a specific person actually. I want to don't really know how to word this specifically, but I want to see kind of, I guess I want to call them the other guys. People like KJ Britt, Grant Stewart, all right, Robert Hainsey. How are these guys that, yeah, we got him in the draft as well. How are these guys fitting in? You know, what do we think about these people? Are they relevant? So I'm excited to see what goes on with them because you know, just overall the rookies and just everything. It's a competitive field out there. For all these new guys who are joining, you're joining the Super Bowl champions right now. Everyone's looking for a spot, and I feel like a lot of those guys who rookies, people like from the top of my head, I would say, like someone like uh, maybe like Aaron Stinney, Tyler
Yes.
Johnson, those guys, Kevin Mintner, what do you call? Oh yeah, Jaden Mickens. Those guys. They're also like they want to make sure that they stay on our team. They want to make sure that that they keep their spot. So they're coming after them. At least that's what I'm hoping slash expecting because I want a competitive field out there. I want to see every single one of these guys push each other. So those are my three guys. Those are kind of just my thoughts overall about, what Arians' plans are right now about why everyone will play because I think we'll be careful. I don't think we'll do anything kind of stupid with just everyone kind of playing. I think, we're just going to be doing a lot of rotations and stuff like that. At least, it's so uh, I'm hoping nothing can go wrong, at least injury wise. So, if we make mistakes, that's fine. I want to make sure that, if we are doing these things, then, people are learning. So, my last point is maybe Bruce Arians and the rest of this coaching staff, they decided, listen, this is game one. Let's see the people or the rookies specifically, or all these new guys or backups who are fighting for their spot when they're messing up, game one or two of the preseason. Are they learning from these mistakes? Are they picking up on this? Or are they just slacking? Are they just going to continue to keep making the same errors, not really keep putting in that work, or maybe kind of losing the drive? This is it. This is basically like the last stage. This is basically the kind of like week. Obviously, I wouldn't say it's as physically demanding or anything like that or punishing, but this is the final test. And yeah, especially for all those new guys and backups, So what the coaches want to see, that did you earn your spot on this team, and if not, then we need to talk.
I agree, and I think someone we forgot to mention here, right? How, we can't and we shouldn't have, our suck up. We didn't see him practice a little bit last week, and there were some rumors that he wasn't doing good. So hopefully he gets a few attempts, and those kicking woes are way past us. So that I think we should keep an eye on, because we've had two kickers throughout the whole training camp. So I think that's a situation to monitor there as well.
I'm glad you brought that up because yeah, I didn't think about that at first, but um because Arians did say that everyone will play, then I guess that means that Mr. Jose Borregales will be getting his chance, hopefully. So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of I was I mentioned this before in the past, but yeah, I wasn't really surprised. Well, no, I was surprised slash never really looked into it that much about when they got this guy. But I don't know. Maybe there is something going on that we don't. I don't know, but I guess we'll find out later during the season.
Agreed.
I'll pipe back in here and kind of say, Musaab, you had brought up a name that I'd like maybe guys, if there's been some rumors or some chatter from the coaches on, and that is Tyler Johnson. Here's a guy who we all last year kind of said, hey man, this guy's underutilized. He had a huge catch in the playoffs. And we're obviously excited to see him. I think we all think he's gonna grow and grow and grow, but there's a little bit of a hiccup in the beginning of training camp for him. Stephan, what have you heard on the Tyler Johnson front?
So on the Tyler Johnson front, it was a little interesting because earlier in the training camp, they had mentioned that he came, out of shape, he was overweight, and then the rumors started piling in, or the Bucs, might it be a trading piece? I even saw it in Bleacher Report. Someone, they were saying like for all the teams who should they trade, and they had Tyler Johnson. I completely disagree. I would think it would be not the greatest of ideas. Because to your point, Eureka, I mean, if you're a true Bucs fan, you remember that third down in that New Orleans game, and that was just a catch. So that was impressive. But then what I read was that this past week he's almost back to shape. He's only 1 or 2 pounds away from where they think he should be. He hasn't had a drop all week. I saw in the Bucs social media too. One of the girls that runs it, Carmen, was saying that that she's been extremely impressed this week with him. So he's been great apparently the last 7-8 days, which was nice. And then it was good to see also on the depth chart that he was, he was above the Dardens, and then which I was a little concerned because there's been a lot of hype over Darden. So I appreciated the fact that we still have him. And then something to monitor there as well is that what are we going to do with Godwin next year, right? I mean, we just tagged him. Do we have the money for a big contract? And if we don't, then someone like Tyler Johnson, he kind of mimics. I mean, he blocks. He's really physical. He's about the same size. So for me, I was hoping he has a leap year, so I'm glad to hear that he's back in shape. That means he's been putting in that work. So, again, I don't see a world where we should not trade this man or let this man go. I mean, it's a good talent for not a lot of money currently. We know that the Bucs have a lot of players on 1-year deals because of the salary cap situation. So I would definitely keep him, and I'm glad to hear he's back in shape and ready to. So that being said, Musaab, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, it was a little worrying to hear about that he was out of shape, just because I was actually expecting him to really make sure that he steps it up. But I don't know. I guess let the offseason get to him. But I will say that someone like him needs to definitely hop on that TB12 diet for sure. And yeah, I'm hoping he's ready as soon as possible. I guess this preseason is a good opportunity to kind of test him week by week to say, hey, okay, maybe week 1, you're or game 1 of the preseason, you're not looking too hot. All right, a little fitness check. All right, hey, game 2, all right, things are looking better. All right, but if game 2 you're still looking the same or you're looking worse, then or if it kind of stays like that and you just plateau, then yeah, that's gonna make me worried. And I'm not gonna be surprised if something happens because. I don't think Coach Arians and the rest of this team, and I'm sure obviously Tom Brady has a say in that as well, as I don't think they want kind of slacking off, and if they got to let someone go, they got to let someone go. This is just business, and I just think that we're just on such a hot streak. We can't just let anyone kind of slow us down. And if it comes down to that, Tyler Johnson is slowing us down, or it's just not working out for him when we really needed him. If he's not playing like he was, recently, towards the end of the season last year, then yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have to do something, but. Yeah, I'm glad that I'm hearing good things. Stefan, I'm glad that you told us, giving us a little more optimism about Tyler Johnson. But hey, maybe this is the chance for other people to kind of make sure they get more reps or something. Maybe if we gotta let Tyler Johnson go, or if he's not looking too hot, we're gonna be giving a little more time to someone like Scotty Miller or maybe Jalen Darden. So we'll see what goes on, but praying for the best.
Agreed.
So with that said, guys, let's get into specifically this first game against the Cincinnati Bengals. I'll ask you two questions. I guess Musaab, will start with you, but what are your guys' expectations for this very first preseason game? And more importantly, kind of finally, like, what do you think success looks like in game one?
All right. Well, first thing, expectations is I'm expecting for us to kind of start strong. I think we're gonna be trying not too many things. I think we're gonna be playing a little bit safe into the fundamentals, and then as time goes on, if we're looking good, then we'll try things. But I think it's gonna be very strategic. We're gonna be careful. But then again, listen, it's preseason, it's game one. I mean, this is what it's supposed to be. So I'm expecting a lot of kind of not like mess ups or whatever, but I'm not gonna be surprised if things go on, especially with our backups and rookies when they get their playing time, that it drops or stuff like that. That it's not really working out too well. Maybe some are looking more rusty than others, but expectations are to see a safe but slow start, and then slowly progress, at least game wise. And then to answer your second question, Eureka, um, you know, success for me looks like taking all the weaknesses or mistakes from this game and making sure that we do not make the same ones, and making sure, especially that people that we were expecting to kind of shine, or maybe expecting more out of, that we're keeping them accountable. We're all aware that these are the players that we're having eyes on game two because their game one wasn't too hot. So that's what success looks like to me, is kind of taking this whole game, and from now until the next one, making sure that we fix those little errors. And is it going to be absolutely perfect game two? Absolutely not. But I just want to see progress. I want to see as much as progress as I can every single game. And I hope that we're trying a lot of things out, and I hope we're making. I don't say this in a bad way or in a weird way, but I hope we're making mistakes. I hope these rookies are trying things out and doing risky things, or maybe kind of listen, when things not everything is gonna field. You can't just stick to the playbook. Sometimes there's gonna be things where it's gonna be a gut reaction. You're gonna have to do something, especially wide receiver or running back wise, or we're talking linebacker or safety, cornerback wise, and you're gonna have to learn that just being smart on the field. All right. So I'm hoping that comes with experience. So to all the rookies, backups, new guys, whether you're like a signed undrafted free agent, this is the time for you to make your mistakes and learn. This is basically like boot camp for you. You're like an open head, like an open little jar, and you're supposed to take it all in. But you have to pick things, and you have to learn that this is a whole different ball game compared to college football. So that's really the big test, is seeing can these guys hang with the big dudes. You're not playing with 22, 21, even I don't know, I guess maybe 23 max year olds. All right, You're playing with grown men now. You're playing with dudes who are bigger, stronger than you, faster. You're talking about dudes who get paid to just wreck you, hurt you. So that's really about it on my end. Yeah, Stefan, how you feeling?
Well, I'm excited, man. I'm gonna start this pretty aggressively. If Brady gets a drive, I expect a touchdown. I mean that Brady gets a drive. I mean the Bengals. I mean with all the hype, we got a whole summer. The team's been together for a while. I expect if Brady gets a drive, we get at least. I would hate to say three, but I just want to say some points. I mean, I expect points if Brady gets out there, especially against a rebuilding team. A defense is very all right, and hopefully they do. And then you can sit down and have some avocado ice cream, and we move to the next players. um, but besides that, success for me and expectation, I would say it's hard to say. I point out Joe Tryon because I just want to see him play some football. I mean, it's been a long time, so expectations. I would like to see him against the first rotation, and then from success. I mean, I would like to see. No, I kind of want to see the running game. We struggled a little bit last year there. Like, can we establish a run against a struggling defense there? It doesn't even matter who the running back is because we got so many. So I would like to see us being able to establish a running game because then that opens up to see how Blaine Gabbert actually looks with an offense that has a running game. How Kyle Trask will look. So establishing a running game for me would be a success in this game, as well as seeing the pass rush with guys like Pat O'Connor and Joe Tryon, guys that are not starters. That would be a success for me if they get a few minutes and we get to see them do well there.
Yeah, for me, it's really, it's just don't get hurt in the preseason, okay? But I mean, as long as you don't get hurt and you're able to get to game 2 and so on and so forth, I think that's a success. But outside of that being the main concern. For me, this preseason being condensed as it is, this is all about the backups. This is all about the rookies. This is all about answering those questions that if we're one injury away from these guys being in the game, it isn't a death blow to the title hopes. That it isn't like a big fat hole in the ship. It's showing me that the rookies can play at this pace. That the aging veterans are just fine. They're not going to get hurt, and we're okay if we're rotating in the KJ Britts and those guys and things like that for a few plays. But I'm also really expecting this is a first test of Kyle Trask. Can he overcome fourth? Because I absolutely think he's going to play. I think that between him and Griffin are going to get the majority of the snaps in the second half. So who's going to win the first battle? Can Griffin stay on this team? Because I don't think the Bucs are keeping more than 3 quarterbacks. So it's those battles. You guys have brought up a lot of the other rookies, but I'm like, to me, does Kyle Trask look like a deer in headlights with at this speed at the NFL level against, when he's in there, he'll be against the third and fourth stringers as well. So does he look head and shoulders above that competition to move up into the second team reps before the preseason is over, even though he'll probably be the third guy on the totem pole no matter what. But he's going to get time at some point with the second stringers, and he's got to earn it. But I if all goes well, that's what success looks like, is that we're coming out of this saying, wow, all the backups did great. It was a shutout performance, even for the backup guys, and that Kyle Trask looked like he belongs in the National Football League. So I guess that'll bring us to our next big topic. And for the next 3 weeks or so, we're going to be breaking down a couple positions, one or a few on offense and a few on defense. And so I've kind of grouped together the tight ends and wide receivers on offense, and then let's also get into we'll go one round with you guys talking about the offense, and then we'll circle back around and talk about the secondary, kind of grouping together safeties and corners. So Musaab, let's start with you, man. When it comes to wide receivers and tight ends, I'm kind of looking to know, like, who are your studs, standout who needs to maybe impress you a little bit more? And is there one guy or two guys that you think are on the bubble from potentially being cut?
Now, this is more, you're asking more specifically for the preseason, correct?
Yeah, I mean, as we sit here, I mean, we're only we're only 4 weeks away from week number 1, and I mean, there's only going to be 50 something guys that make this roster. So, when it comes to wide receivers and tight ends, is there a true stud standout that you want to shout out, and then kind of who's in the middle maybe needs to rise up a little bit, but they're going to be on the team for sure, but maybe they just need to impress you just a little bit to feel better about him. And then finally, a guy that maybe the sirens are blaring, and it might be a guy that's on the bubble for this team.
Okay. Yeah, so my stud for at least, the preseason, and I'm gonna subtract, someone like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, of course, right now, because
Yeah.
I mean those are the overall regular season studs. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of just talking at least before week 1, and right when week 1 starts, who am I expecting to be our right before the season stud is? I'm gonna go with Scotty Miller.
Okay.
I think he's just gonna be firing on all cylinders as soon as he gets his chance to. I think he wants to come in hot. I think he wants to make sure that he lets the coach staffing know, or the coach's staff, and just the rest of the team know that he's ready, and he's someone that you can count on. So he's gonna be my wide receiver stud, at least for now. But for my stud standout, I would also want to maybe add on, maybe on the defensive side, which is, I think KJ Britt might. I have a good feeling about KJ Britt for some reason.
All right, let's keep it more just wide receivers and tight ends, because we're going to circle back around, and I know KJ Britt's definitely going to come up when we talk about linebackers in a couple weeks. But yeah, I was going to say, is there maybe a tight end or a wide receiver that you're looking to say, yeah, this guy needs to impress me a little bit more? He's probably not going to get cut, but he's kind of, I don't know about this guy.
Ooh, I don't know. I'm curious to see what goes on with Joe Adams. I don't know too much about him.
Okay.
He he's had nothing special in the past. So I want to see, is he someone relevant? Because the tight end, the tight end group is, I don't know. It's an interesting bunch because, we've talked about this before. There's not that one kind of standout, like, oh, this guy for sure is like, all right, yeah, this guy's definitely the tight end. So for that reason, that's someone who I'm thinking, listen, if things don't work out, then yeah, I think he's for sure not going to be with us. But I'll have my eyes out on him. When it comes to wide receivers and tight ends, those are the two guys I have my eyes out on. Just because, one, I'm looking at a stud, and one, I'm thinking, well, it might be tough for him, but let's see what he does.
All right, Stephan, when it comes to tight ends and wide receivers, is there maybe name a guy who you think is your stud standout, a guy that needs to impress you, and then maybe a guy that you're looking to say, I don't know if he's going to make it on this team?
So I'll start with tight ends. I think we can all agree on, if we're probably only putting one tight end out, there's probably Gronk. So I'll kind of discount that there. But I think Cameron Brate, or I love Cameron Brate. Plus he's a big Harvard guy, so I just in general. But I think Cameron Brate and OJ Howard, one of them I think is bound to have a really. I mean, again, I mentioned this in one of the earlier podcasts. So impressed that day. I saw OJ Howard. He was healthy. He's kind of been on the bubble. Is it a bust? Is he really that good? So I'll go with him with having a good year. Especially if he gets a safety, man, corner, depending what we do. I mean, the guy's just big and he's fast, strong. So I'll him. Someone that I've heard bad reviews and always loved in preseason when him and Griffin have that connection is Tanner Hudson. Even when the depth chart came out today, he's the 5th tight end. which is kind, they have, and I have to admit, I haven't done a lot of research. I don't know who Cody Elkroy is, but
Okay.
he's over Tanner Hudson in the depth chart as of right now. So, I heard some reviews that his blocking, to Tanner Hudson's blocking, hasn't been good at all. So, he might not make it. Um, Wide receivers, again, Musaab makes a good point. I don't want to add Mike and Godwin, the easy way out, but and again, Antonio Brown might be an easy way out as well. But I'm expecting a huge year from him. All
Okay.
reports from camp are he hasn't lost a step from 5 years ago. Bruce Arians said today, which is kind of pretty crazy to say that. I mean, it'd be awesome to see him. I mean, again, this is someone who used to be the one guy, get double team all the time, and now he's the third guy, say, or the fourth, depending if we're just running go routes with Scooter, which I'm all about as well. Um, and someone that's on the bubble for me, wide receiver wise, is Jaden Mickens, right? I mean, we haven't heard a lot from him in training camp. I like him personally. I thought he did a great job with kick returning last year, which we've struggled in the past. But he had some off season issues there as well. So we'll see what happens there because again, if we're gonna do Godwin, Mike, Scooter, Brown, Tyler Johnson, then you still have Darden, Mickens, and Grayson. Like, where does that line get drawn, right? I mean, it's gonna be tough. That's a lot. I mean, again, it's a great problem for us to have, but he might be the odd guy out there.
Well, Musa, man, I know you're itching to talk some defense. Let's not talk linebackers though. But because I mean, even though reports out of camp right now are that you definitely have the inside track on Devin White being Defensive Player of the Year, and all reports are that he is looking amazing and the best he's ever looked. So Musaab, man, that crystal ball's working pretty well, man. So let me ask you to focus all that crystal ball energy to the secondary. Same kind of questions. Who, and maybe a few more question marks here in the secondary with the regular season performance. Who's your stud standout? Who's someone that's kind of in the middle that needs to impress you some more? And who do you think might be on the way out?
My stud standout is going to be Mr. Ross Cockrell.
Let's go.
Hell yeah.
Because I think the opportunities he had this past season, I think he showed that he can play, and he's a trustworthy backup. When we needed him to step up, he was able to, and I think he's going to give a lot of competition to Carlton Davis. I mean, Carlton Davis is also a really special guy, but I think you know what? Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say Ross Cockrell is my stud because I think he is going to be able to kind of have Carlton Davis's back. Those days that, Davis ain't feeling too hot, I think Cockrell can step easily in and be able to be like, you know what? I got this. All right. I got this play or I got these few plays. I got this quarter, et cetera, et cetera. So I think, they'll be able to kind of share that ideally. Or realistically, probably Carlton Davis is going to be starting more in the regular season, but I don't know. I want to see more Ross Cockrell for sure. Now, for the next one, I want to say who needs to impress me more is I don't know. I want to see more. I want to see more of Antoine Winfield. I take that back. Not Antoine Winfield. Sean Murphy Bunting. Mixed him up a little bit. My apologies. Sean Murphy Bunting. Just because, especially at the beginning of the season, I just felt like there were just times overall the DB unit wasn't looking too hot, and a lot of the times, the first person that I saw during those kind of sloppy plays was oh my God, why do I keep saying his name? Sean Murphy Bunting. So I don't know. I mean, he's also a great guy, but to me, the way I would summarize his past season was especially the beginning to mid was definitely a roller coaster for sure. So I guess maybe that was just because we were on a clean slate with Brady and a bunch of other new guys joining, but I'm expecting more from him for sure. I'm expecting more consistency. Now, to my last guy, which is Mr. Who's on the Bubble, and ooh, this one's a good one because I want to say Herb Miller. I want to say Herb Miller because You know, I feel like he's been here for a while. I feel like he's kind of been here and there, which is just making me think, all right, listen, if you're gonna do something, then you got to step up when we need you to. But if nothing happens, then I won't be surprised if we let him go, or I don't know, whatever happens. But that's just someone who is the first guy on my head that I'm thinking, listen, he's kind of like my Jaden Mickens. The way Stephan kind of described the Jaden Mickens situation. That's kind of feeling about Herb Miller. So yeah, those are my three guys.
So I will say my stud. The listeners probably already know from the pod when I went to practice, but Jamel Dean.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
Jamel Dean. Well, I think Carlton. I guess I'll start by saying I think Carlton's going to become a top 5 corner. I think, he had some really impressive outings against Tay Adams, Michael Tom. He was really, really good, and I just think that to me it's kind of how we did. Mike Evans doesn't count. I just think Carlton is in stone that he's the number 1 guy, and I hope he becomes that top 5 corner. I was gonna say for my start, I'm going with Jamel Dean, but I'm super pumped that Musaab brought up Cockrell because he's been having apparently an amazing training camp. I also saw that the day Mister was qualified for a gold medal, to race in the final for the gold medal. He had like 3 picks and stuff, so like it's been a great training camp for him apparently. So I'm excited. I mean, this is an area that I've emphasized a lot since I joined. I'm a little concerned. I mean, especially, my fiance's going to hate me for saying this, but I'm with Musa. I got to see more consistency from Sean Murphy Bunting as well. I mean, that's just – he started terrible. He ended the season great, but I would like to see that, throughout the year. I guess if we have to say someone that potentially gets cut, I mean, Herb Miller's a good one, but, we heard a lot about, he went through a lot of pain to bring in Cameron Kinley, right? I mean, is he even was it worth it? Is he gonna make the squad? I don't know. That'll be something interesting. But another point I did want to bring up was we haven't heard a lot from from Jordan Whitehead this offseason. He was a little bit hurt. He had COVID. Like, what's going on there? And then a lot of Mike Edwards is having a great offseason, so which is good. I mean, you can't help but have these backups just be healthy and ready to play. So that's another battle there that I'm looking forward to seeing a lot. Mike Edwards was really big when Winfield went out a few games as well. So and Whitehead. So that's another interesting battle going on right there. But I do think Winfield Jr. I mean, he's set in stone first guy, but Jordan Whitehead in the Mike Edwards situation is going to be interesting because again we haven't heard a lot from Whitehead, and it's just interesting to me because if before the season started, you would have asked me, who's starting, Whitehead or Edwards. It was clear Whitehead, but from what I've read, I mean, there's not a lot going with Whitehead. He's been in and out, so I would like for us, to keep an eye on that battle as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking one of my guys. You guys have talked about a lot of the same guys I think that are going to be studs, and some good question marks kind of in the middle about who needs to maybe do some more to impress. But one guy that they brought in for his kind of veteran, he's bounced around a little bit, and that's Raven Green at safety. He's not a needle moving guy. We're hoping that maybe he can contribute either just as a veteran presence in that very, very young secondary room, but also maybe if his contributions aren't good enough on special teams or as a backup, it might be a guy that they brought in and had high hopes for, but there's only so many spots to go around, and here's a guy that wasn't. He has started games in this league, and now he's kind of in a definite backup role here. Who knows if he takes to that role if he's in this room with these young guys and just isn't doing that well. I mean, I'm not in there, so I don't know the answers to these questions, but it's one of these guys I'm looking that I'm waiting to hear the glowing review from how Raven Green is a indispensable member of this locker room, no matter if he's playing on the field or not. That those kind of things I'm waiting on hearing that oh no, he's the captain of special teams and all the young guys love him and he's just this locker room glue or something. That's kind of something I have my ears out to hear about guys like that in the locker room. So The last thing we'll get to, because I love what you guys have said about those positions, and we'll go into linebackers next week, Mr. Musaab. We will get into running backs and linebackers next week, so that should be pretty fun. But the last thing we'll talk tonight is I don't know if you guys got a chance to go and see the EA Sports Madden ratings that have finally, the entire league, the entire team has been released. And, there's a couple guys. There's a couple guys. Tom Brady, of course, is the highest rated member of the Bucs. He's rated at a 97 out of 100 with I guess his big stat is awareness, 99. No hating there. But
so no hating on the four fingers. I'm surprised.
yeah, I know, but like, I guess what's his lowest stat? It has to be speed, right? No, but anyway, all jokes aside, like, I don't think anyone didn't expect Tom Brady to be up there. But also, Mike Evans, man, 91? Is that underrated for Mike Evans? I don't know, man.
I got to step on this one, Eureka, because this just bothers me. The guy has had 7 straight seasons with 1,000 yards to start a career. That's never been done before. Never been done before. And let's just, some of the quarterbacks, besides Brady, Jameis was good in, the deep ball and stuff, but also prone to turnovers. So, like he's had 1,000 yards no matter the quarterback. I don't understand how this guy can just be a 91 when he's just breaking records left and right. But beyond me, I just hope this is another. Not that this guy needs any motivation, but it just really bothers me because when people say it's like Julio, OBJ, who like hasn't played in a while, is always hurt, and like in the meat news, and like Mike is just low key, and does this breaking records and no recognition, but hopefully he starts to get it. We won, so that's a good thing. It just kind of reminds me. It gives me the same vibe as Levante David, so I didn't even look up Levante because I would just get really mad. So I'll let that one slide.
Yeah. Levante's a 93, so he's not doing too shabby. Musaab, man, I cut you off.
Well, as you were saying, Stephan, I'm not sure why people don't say Mike Evans is in the top 10 because, look, the guy's had 7 straight 1,000 seasons, 2 seasons just under 8 touchdowns, and the dude's averaging basically almost every season he's played about 70 to 80 yards per game. So he's a beast, and as you said, he's low key. And you know what? I don't think Mike Evans is gonna kind of let the haters or let anyone kind of affect his performance. I think he knows that he's accomplished a lot. He's got nothing to prove to anyone. So he's out here this upcoming season just making sure that he does his job. He's hyping up everyone, keeping them motivated, and racking up as many touchdowns as he can because I'm expecting him and a few other guys, of course, like, Tom Brady and, D. White, of course, to be leading our team to another Super Bowl championship.
Yeah. Mike Evans is good enough. He is the 9th highest rated wide receiver in the league, according to Madden here. What's another one that stood out to me? Devin White, Musaab. Devin White, an 85 out of 100, or out of 99. What happened here, man? Why? How is Devin White only 85? Which is high, I guess. But when he wins Defensive Player of the Year this year, he's probably going to be in the 90s next year. You think?
Those who came to the decision that he was an 85 were probably having a bad day that day. So, no, he's definitely not an 85. Is he 99? Of course not. But he's definitely going to be in the mid-90s for sure by the end of this season. That's guaranteed. I'm going to tell you that. And if he gets Defensive Player of the Year, he ought to be in the 97 to 99 range for sure. So, what I have him as. So, to any Madden fan or anybody who really believes in those ratings, I hate to break it to you, but you're talking to a guy who doesn't believe in it at all. So, Mr. Devin White is not an 85 to me right now. I have him as a 90. I have him as a 93. I don't think. I think there's a few things he can still learn, but I think he'll definitely polish well. And he's going to be amazing this season. I'm really excited to see him for sure.
Well, and to put it in contrast, like most of the linebackers don't touch the 90s for whatever reason. I don't know if that's just because of how over dominant linebackers are with the system or whatever. Where guys would just basically take over as linebackers and just dominate games and stuff like that. So maybe there's a little bit of balancing out where technically he's an 85, but if you gave it on a curve for top rated linebackers, he's probably up in that top 5%. Stephan, I'm sorry I cut you off, buddy.
No, I just wanted to say that it was a little interesting to me. It's a great point that you bring up there because, I mean, listen, I love Vita Vea, but like 88, he barely played, how is he above a guy like Devin White, I mean, I love Vita Vea.
When he did play, he was the dominant force, and I know Musaab and I, we were kind of crying when Vita Vea went down, and we're like, like this guy was the kind of the fulcrum of that defense and the reason they were just like shutting dudes out at the time. Of course, we did just lose to the Bears at that point. We were all kind of crying in our beers for a couple weeks there. We were like, oh no, man.
That Chicago Bear game is something to never go back to.
I know. It haunts me to this day. It haunts me, and until they like shut out everyone and go 17-0 this year, I'm gonna be like, oh god, we're playing the Jaguars or something, and I'm like, oh no, I don't know it's gonna happen. Like, it's just horrible. But who else? Let's see. Maybe I'll throw one more guy that was kind of, maybe a couple more guys that were weird. How about? Well, I mean, just all these guys super low rated. All right, I'll just kind of list a few guys. Giovanni Bernard 77, Jordan Whitehead 77, Scotty Miller I get 76. I get why they wouldn't rate him so high, but guys like, I mean, Tyler Johnson's a 70, but we kind of talked about him being a question mark. But Joe Tryon, first-round draft pick, outside linebacker. Maybe it's just because we don't really know how to rate him properly. 69. I mean, nice, but 69 as a rating. Is this just rookie hate? Is this just rookie hate, man?
I would assume. I mean, he also, again, how Musaab has brought it up a few times. The dude hasn't played football in 2 years. I mean, that's a long time. So I would assume it's just kind of like a few averages of, the rookies, or where do they think the best rookie's going to be at, and then just kind of stick a number.
Yeah. Musaab, man, though, the last guy I'll bring up, and that is Kyle Trask, the conductor of the trash train. They have him at 64, which is actually a little bit higher than our boy Blaine Gabbert, and definitely more than Ryan Griffin. So Madden has Kyle Trask as the second string quarterback. Man, what do you think about that? Madden's already given him the keys to the clipboard, brother.
Well, I think the guy who gave Kyle Trask rating is not the same guy who gave Devin White's rating, but I also think that the guy who gave Kyle Trask rating kind of has the same mentality as me. He probably has to take it to the Trask train because he's got him as second string. But I mean, that's a fine rating for me. I mean, look, he's a rookie, and I think a rookie quarterback, the adjusting to the position of a quarterback in the NFL from college is a very hard transition for sure, and I think it's also learning behind Tom Brady. I feel like it might get to him maybe. I don't know. I don't know specifically, but I mean, I know he's a hard worker. He keeps fighting. He waited for his spot, and then he shined at the University of Florida. So, I mean, I think he'll ideally be higher for sure, but we'll see what goes on this season.
Yeah, of course.
I think for someone like him, his rating is really going to be actually relevant once he's a starter. I just don't. I mean, right now, look, if he's going to be behind Tom Brady, I don't care what his rating is. I care how he plays in real life. So, that's really about it. Choo-choo.
Well, just remember, TB12 was a 57 overall in his rookie They didn't even have his name on the roster. He was just quarterback number 12. He wasn't even Tom Brady.
Well, that was also back in the 90s as well, right?
No. Oh, they had names, brother. They had names. They just had no expectation. There were negative. There wasn't even zero expectation. It was negative expectations. Like, I'm surprised he's even in the game, to be fair. But yeah. Oh no. Yeah, Tom Brady, a 57 overall. So Kyle Trask, better than Tom Brady in his rookie year. Huh? Anybody? No? No.
I guess we'll take it. I guess we'll take it.
Yeah, man. Well, with that, the final thing I'll say before I give it to the boys for the final word here. We thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to us here. So if you're on social media, we are at RBLR Sports, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, we're there. Also, wherever you're listening to us here, if you're on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Stitcher, Reason, all these other ones that have weird names, whatever platform you're listening to us on, give us that little like, give us that follow, give us that subscribe, whatever that button says, where it gets you this episode as soon as it uploads, because we try to give you the 5-star content every week, whether that's the Rays, the Rowdies, the Lightning, or my guys here with the Bucs. So, Musaab, man, I'll give it to you. Final thoughts, and then Stephan, jump right in, and then you're the last word, buddy. Musaab, give us your final thoughts, and let's get a go Bucs on the way out, fellas.
Well, final thoughts are, fans, I hope you're as excited as I am, because this is it. We've finally been waiting for this moment. The off season is over with. It's football season now, so that's all I really have to say. I hope you're fired up. I'm excited for game one. Looking for all these guys to go out with the bang, and that's really about it. That being said, choo-choo and go Bucs.
I love it. Well, fans, I will, fan listeners, let's go. We waited a long time for this, so I'm excited. It's great to start a season knowing that we are the Super Bowl champs, and until someone beats us, it won't happen. So that being said, pack up your beers and hopefully a few raincoats, and let's go take over Ray J, baby. Go Bucs.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.